Nicolas Cage is known for some of the most bizarre performances ever as an actor. I thought I need to look at one of his most celebrated ones, which is Leaving Las Vegas. Join me after the intro for my thoughts on the film. Hi, my name's Shue and welcome to another review video on my channel. Today I'll be talking about Leaving Las Vegas, which I have never seen before. This is the very first time that I am able to watch it. I had read a lot about it, obviously it being praised as one of Nicolas Cage's best films, and he won an Oscar for this as the best actor. The person playing alongside him in this film is Elizabeth Shue, and she was also nominated as best actress. Unfortunately, she did not win, which I personally find is quite a snub. I'll talk more about that later. The film is made by Mike Figgis. There's an interesting bit of information there. He's not only the director, he also wrote the screenplay as I understand, and he wrote the music as well. Obviously I will keep my review as little spoilery as possible, as that is my new format. Although the main gist of the film pretty much carries itself throughout it. You have Nicolas Cage's character, who works as a writer in Hollywood. He loses his job due to an alcohol problem. It's never exactly explained where it comes from, although it's heavily implied that it's got to do with him losing the relationship with his wife. So he even mentions at one point in the film that he's not sure if alcoholism caused him to lose his wife or if losing his wife is what caused his alcoholism. And there's also a photo showing that he even has a child. So obviously he's lost both of them, and this either it created the problem or it made it a lot worse. He loses his job and he decides the only thing to do is to pack his things, cash out whatever money he's got, and go to Las Vegas to drink himself to death. And that is the plot of the film. Elizabeth Shue comes in as a prostitute who he meets on the street while he's driving along. He actually nearly drives into her, and he offers her money to spend the night with him. And it's very obvious immediately that it's not, the actual thing is not what he's after. He just wants some human contact, somebody to talk to. And it goes from there. Both of them, they spend time with each other. Even after the one night, they discover that they have affection for each other. And it's a very weird situation. I obviously won't tell you the other main plot points that happen or how the film ends even. But the film is mainly about the interactions between the two. You have these two lost souls, I'll call them, who find each other, and they both just want, I'll call it a just normal human relationship, and they were obviously both of them not able to get that otherwise. Elizabeth Shue's character, like I said, she is a prostitute, and she works for this mob guy, and unfortunately, on top of everything else, he abuses her. You see that in the film as well. It seems that both of them don't have anyone, actually, no friends, family even. They seem to be all alone, so obviously they're very longing for these normal relationships. And that is what makes this film so stunning. You have Nicolas Cage, who really does just drink all the time, so that is his main source of nourishment, I'll call it. Any chance he gets, or before any action that he takes, he'll have a drink first. He wakes up in the morning, he has a drink, and you see him waking up, he's even shivering very, very heavily. He's just shaking due to the withdrawal that's seemingly just even felt overnight. He's given up on life. All he wants to do is just drink his head off, and it's obviously it's a very sad thing to witness, somebody who's just given up, who just does not see any point in going on anymore. And then you've got Elizabeth Shue's character. I've explained she's a prostitute, but without any seemingly personal relationships. So obviously there you've got this thing where, although she is obviously very close to people, at least bodily, she is completely distant to everyone emotionally. And so she finds this guy who does not just use her for this one thing, but is actually just interested in her as a person, talks to her, is nice to her, and just treats her well. And so she has affection for him. He also develops affection for her. They make this agreement where she's not allowed to try and get him to stop drinking. He, on the other hand, will not in any way talk about her job. And the two of them sort of join forces, and they do various things. They spend time with each other, and this relationship develops. So it's a very beautiful thing to watch, actually. Like I say, you've got these two people. I would call them dysfunctional, of course, due to just their surroundings, really. And they share all these nice moments with each other, these simple moments. And this is where the acting really comes through. So both of them do a really good job. I mean, Nicolas Cage does really a perfect job of being drunk. I mean, sounds quite easy, I suppose. Anyone who has had a drink before sort of realises what it's like. But I could imagine that's really difficult to portray a drunk person. He does it extraordinarily well. He portrays them during all the stages that you know of drunk people, either yourself or from watching others. He has these moments where he appears really, really sober, where you're like, okay, what's happening? Is he maybe stopped drinking for a bit or so? Only to realise that it's happened to me as well before. You just have these moments where you appear very clear and you everything. But I don't think it's so easy to do it all the time. It's everything from his walk to his words and just his looks. Great job, really is a great job. And not to belittle him in any way, but at least in a direct comparison, and I don't know who the nominees were that year and which films there were that they were competing against, but I feel that Elizabeth Shue, at least if you put the two together, or against each other I should say, she really wins here because there's just so much more to her character, which I suppose is also the reason because Nicolas Cage, he is, for the most part, very one note, so it's all focused on his being drunk, but he does have these moments where he has a connection and you can see that he genuinely feels something for her. But Elizabeth Shue's character, she goes through so much more because she's got all these other things that she's also taking, and she's got a job and all the stuff that she takes, and from that, the abuse. You have some really hefty moments there which make you really feel for the character, and you can tell at the start, while she's okay with the agreement that they have and him drinking himself to death, over time she develops a lot of affection for him, and you can see the struggle that she has because she just wants him to stop, really. The first person who's really just nice to her, and it kills her that he is just killing himself with the way he's going. So acting wise, you have brilliant performances. There's really nothing I can fault here. It's that's what definitely kept me going, because the story, let's be honest, it's really bleak. So both of them have got really horrible things that they're going through, but what elevates the whole thing is the performances of both. When they're doing stuff together, like I say, it all feels very genuine, the emotion they have for each other. One thing I need to talk about is the music. As I explained in the start, Mike Figgis not only directed it, not only wrote the screenplay, he also made the music for this film, and it's very nice. It feels very Vegas-y, or at least how I would imagine it. I've never been to America, so I can't tell, but at least from what I've seen and what my impressions are, what my expectations would be, I would expect it to be the sort of jazzy music. It fits it very well. You have, especially because obviously a lot of the scenes, they take place in bars or nightclubs, casinos, so the sort of jazz music fits it very well, and you have one song in particular that keeps recurring. The problem I have with it is the because seemingly you have the director who made the music himself, he really puts it front and centre quite a lot. So not only does the music happen quite a lot, I feel that it's just a bit too prominent. Whereas I enjoy music to be in the background more. It depends, but if it's in the foreground, there should be a really good reason for it. The problem is here you have quite a lot of scenes where the volume levels are all over the place, and you're actually having trouble hearing the dialogue because of the music. because the music's not only going, it's so loud it drowns out all the voices, which I don't understand that decision. I really don't. This is a character piece. Without the characters to watch and listen to, particularly, there's not much that's keeping the story going. So that was a very strange artistic choice for me. I'm not quite sure why he felt that was necessary, apart from the fact that it's his own music and he obviously likes it. Fine. Like I say, I just think too much and maybe too loud at times in the mix of it all. I was also going to complain a bit about the directing at first, but after watching the film I just had a look at it, and it seems that their budget was very, very tight and they were having trouble with getting permits in Las Vegas. They didn't want to shut down the strip and everything, so they had to do a lot of things sort of on the fly, on the go, and just had to work with what they got. Many scenes were just one shot. That's all they had time for, or that's all they got. So that's actually quite interesting, because I thought at times it looked very grainy, and I was a bit surprised because it's been a while since I've watched a Blu-ray, and some of the scenes they looked more like basic DVD quality, not HD. So I was a bit surprised about that, and like I say, I was going to complain about it until I read afterwards that this was actually part of the production. That's just how it was done. So I suppose you can't fault them for that. Actually, on the other hand, because now I know that they were forced to do things in just one take, and that it actually puts more of an emphasis on the acting that's being done, because they know they've only got one scene to do it. And the way they did it also allowed them to put them in a more natural space, so the people around them and that were actually real people, some of it, or even most of the time. Like I say, they didn't close off the roads or anything. So that makes actually for an interesting situation that you have there, and I suppose through that the whole thing could feel more genuine. At least the actors, they knew we've only got one shot at this, so they gave it their all. That's probably why he got so much out of the two of them. So in that sense, I suppose you could say the camera work is even a bonus in that way, because for that it is very impressive, because I feel you do always get a good look at what's happening in a scene, and particularly how the characters are reacting. It does a good job of putting you in the room, as it were. And I think that's how I'll conclude this review. I don't have a philosophy degree. Maybe if you have, or psychology, I suppose you could really delve into this film. There was definitely a lot to talk about, especially if you want to go into the spoiler territory. But overall, I highly recommend this film, although big warning, it is very bleak, so only if that's your kind of thing. But other than that, you've got magnificent performances, you've got a nice soundtrack. I like the jazzy music, like I say, just a bit too much. It's done, but I generally like it. Camera work's interesting, just the whole feel of it. Yes, it feels like Las Vegas would to me. It's how I would expect it to look and feel like. Very high recommendation from me. What about you? Have you seen the film? Tell me what I might be wrong about, or tell me what I missed. I mean, like I say, I avoided spoilers intentionally, but still, what are your impressions of the film? If you like and share the video, if you comment down below, that would really make me happy. That would help me out a lot. Otherwise, please feel free to subscribe to the channel for more film reviews or drone videos, like the one that I did last week, if you want to check out that. So it's not just film reviews I do here. I'll thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.